We live in a world that seems to have an obsession with the lifestyles of the rich and the famous. We crave information on their personal lives and hunger at any chance for a glimpse into scandal. It seems the most important thing for society is to be in the know about who is rolling around the sheets with whom and who is making puppy dog eyes at each other. The interesting part of this concept is that we don't care if the gossip is about people we know. Honestly, some people prefer the gossip only in relation to celebrities. But why? What caused this extreme animalistic desire to be in the know about people you don't know? As a millennial, I understand that having a smartphone has opened up a whole new world. We have apps to give us any bit of information we desire. Want to say how you feel? There's an app for that. Want to post a picture? There's an app for that. Want to chat to people? There's an app for that. Want to blog? There's an app for that. You might realize the trend occurring. The craziest part is, if you want to look at what your favorite celebrities are doing on social media, you can use all the apps you are already using. You can also be close to the hottest celebrity gossip along your closest friends, aka the media. It seems the media craves celebrity love life gossip as much as you do. Now, I can't say that our hunger for this juicy gossip hasn't always been there. Even in the days of our parents and grandparents, there was still some desire to know which celebrity was with who. The dirt was still there, but it was given to the common folk differently. For a long time, the information given wasn't really anything scandalous. If the two people involved in the gossip were single, male and female, and puppy-eyed, their love story was passed on to the public. For years, cheating, sex before marriage, homosexuality, and pretty much anything immoral was kept from the public. How, you might ask? If you were under contract at any studio, it was your studio's job to pay the press to keep their mouths shut about anything scandalous. The press turned a blind eye to the celebrity scandal because if they didn't, the studio was coming for them. There were gossip columnists who posted certain things, but even they knew when to keep their mouths shut. So now comes the biggest question. When did this all change? When did our fascination streamline to obsession? When did celebrity love lives become more important than other stories reported? My hunch is millennials have something to do with this, and that my generation cares way too much about what is going on with celebrities. However, to get clarity on my belief and to prove whether or not I am a cynic, I had to go and talk to different people in different stages of life. I talked to millennials, my parents, and my grandparents to try and figure out where this shift happened and to see if I am just bashing my generation. I asked each age group similar questions about celebrity love stories and compared what each generation knew. Here is a taste of some of my findings.
I want to say no because I only know what they tell us. You really don't know what happens behind closed doors because they try to keep their lives as private as they can. So I do know everything there is to know that they put out to the media, but everything in general, I don't think so.
No. Well, me personally, no. I don't know too much about celebrities' love lives. However, I do feel that too much of celebrities' love lives are put into media.
As a matter of fact, no. I know way too little.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and I think it runs their lives.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I do.
I guess it's up to you whether you want to know about it or not.
Oh man. Bill Cosby in the news. There have been allegations throughout the years that Bill Cosby has sexually assaulted women, and it was recently brought into the spotlight last year when Hannibal Buress made a joke about it and said, no, like that's real stuff, go look that up.
I don't know the exact number, but he's accused of slipping something into several women's drinks and having his way with them.
He's being accused by a bunch of women that he basically date raped them.
He did kinky sex with a lot of women.
He's been accused by 50 or 60 women of rape. and drugs.
Bill Cosby was officially called a rapist by comedian Hannibal Buress in 2014. Not even a month later, Cosby was first publicly accused of sexual assault by one of his victims. Cosby has since been accused of sexual assault by over 50 women.
No.
No.
I think that he was accused of raping a young girl. Nothing ever happened in terms of bringing him to court because he left the country. And I don't think he's ever returned.
Polanski was, if I recall, was dating someone much younger, and he fled the country and has yet to return, as far as I know.
Underage child molestation.
Roman Polanski was caught in a scandal in 1977. He gave 13-year-old Samantha Gailey champagne and a sedative. Polanski had sexual relations with the girl and, for fear of imprisonment, fled the country and hasn't returned since.
So Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt were married, and they were Hollywood's it couple. And then Mr. and Mrs. Smith came along, and Brad Pitt was very infatuated with Angelina Jolie already, and you know, who wants to point fingers, but Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt are married now. So we'll, you know, what happened, we don't know.
You know, I really don't still to this day understand that whole love triangle. I just know it's like bouncing from Jen Ann to bouncing back to Ange to bouncing back to... It's just a whole back and forth affair to the point where I'm like, why aren't you guys polyamorous?
Yeah. He was married to, what's her name? Jennifer Aniston. And then they did a movie together, him and Angelina, and then she stole him.
Brad Pitt was married to Jennifer Aniston, and he met Angelina Jolie on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And so they fell in love. He left Aniston, and they lived together and now are married.
They worked on a movie together and became involved. And then I believe that they became partners, not legally, and adopted a number of children who share both their names, and then had at least 3 of their own.
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were married in 2000. They were known as Hollywood's golden couple. However, during the making of the film, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Pitt fell in love with co-star Angelina Jolie. Pitt and Aniston divorced in 2005, and Brad and Angelina have been together ever since.
I'm going to say Debbie Reynolds came in there somewhere. She was involved in some way. This is based on nothing other than what you just told me. That's about it. I don't know much more.
I'm going to assume that they were dating or they were married, possibly. But I'm not really sure about details of that story.
She was a waitress at Arnold's where he used to go get his malts. I don't know.
Well, Eddie Fisher was married to Debbie Reynolds. Now, how did he meet Elizabeth Taylor? I cannot remember how they met, but I know that broke up his marriage with Debbie Reynolds, who was America's sweetheart.
Okay, Eddie Fisher, from what I recall, was married to Debbie Reynolds. He had an affair with Elizabeth Taylor and wound up marrying her. I don't think that the marriage lasted very long because along came Richard Burton.
Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher married in 1955. They were an it couple of the time. She was America's sweetheart and he was to become the next Sinatra. Yet a tragic accident that involved Eddie's best friend, Mike Todd, turned Debbie's world upside down. Debbie's best friend, Elizabeth Taylor, was married to Mike Todd. And one day, Debbie called Liz and Eddie answered the phone. The affair broke up Fisher and Reynolds, and Fisher and Taylor married in 1959. However, Taylor left Fisher for another man in 1964, aka Richard Burton.
Honestly, do not think so. I think our generation is more in tune with those kind of issues because just even talking to my mom or my grandma or grandparents, granddad or whatever, they care, but not as much as we do. So I'm pretty sure obviously they don't care as much. We just have access to social media and different things where we can collectively talk about situations where it makes it more fun and engaging and you get more details and information on situations versus they didn't have that access back then. So it was just, oh, you heard it on the news. Okay, cool. Whereas, oh my God, he tweeted this. She put on this on Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
I know they weren't. As a matter of fact, with my dad specifically, his grandfather would not let them watch certain shows on television for reasons that I choose not to share. But they didn't care about celebrities. They were out on the streets playing hopscotch and pickup sticks and stuff, not obsessed with other people's love lives. They had their own.
I think that they probably were to an extent.
I don't think there was much of a demand for that just because people didn't know what was happening. Now we want to know everything. We have the internet, we have full access to someone's life pretty much. And we know that there are people who will post these details online or in magazines. And so I think because there's something that was created now that's more accessible, it's more popular with us than it was for our parents or grandparents.
Oh.
Why not?
And we're talking about my generation. Woo. Why not?
Why not?
Because we didn't have access. There was no 24-hour news, internet. We weren't bombarded with it, so our news was more selective.
No,
Why?
because we were living life. We didn't have time for everybody else's drama.
I do not. I don't think it's even close. Not because we were above it or anything else. It just wasn't out there. The information wasn't there. The news wasn't there. There were. It just wasn't something that made the news like it does now. It wasn't. We didn't read about it. If you didn't, those three sources: TV, radio, newspapers. If you didn't hear from get it there, you didn't get it. And it's just not like now.
Whether they were interested or not, the information wasn't as readily available back then as it is today. So when it's in your face as everything is today, whether you're interested or not, it's out there. And back then you had to go seek it out.
Yeah, I think so. Just didn't get as much of it. But people are people. They're always like that.
All in all, I asked both groups 22 questions. Some were opinion-based and some were history-based. Each participant answered the questions to the best of their abilities, and I learned a lot from them. But the main point of all the interviews was to answer if millennials know too much about celebrities' love lives. The answer is yes. As millennials, we have a lot of access to celebrities via the media and even celebrities themselves. But not only do millennials know too much about celebrities' love lives now, but so does every generation. If something happened in the 21st century and has to do with a celebrity's love life, we know something about it. A lot of the love stories that I asked my parents and grandparents about that happened during their lifetime, they didn't know occurred until way after the fact. It's not that older generations didn't care as much as we do. It is just they didn't have the access that we have. Millennials know too much, but let's face it, wouldn't anyone know too much if their main focus is a tiny machine in the palm of their hand? I'll let you be the judge.